Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Financial Freedom Podcast. Business are great. They can bring in massive income. And, when you're in business, there's no cap on your income. And a business can be a great vehicle to create financial freedom. But there's one obstacle, and that is your business has to be profitable. Because most owners are pumping money into their business and they're not creating their financial freedom. With me today is Jack Wong, and he's going to share with you how to have a profitable business. And who wouldn't want to know that, right, Jack? He is the author.
Lorna. Yeah.
He is the author of the best-selling book, Cracking the Entrepreneur Code: 7 Tips to Build a Business You Always Wanted. He has been featured on CBS News, Fox, ABC News, and NBC News. His mission is to improve the quality of lives of over 1 million people worldwide, including employees, so listen up employees, who are stuck in the rat race by helping them to realize that they can start any business using his 7 principles. He is a serial entrepreneur, business strategist with more than 23 years of international tax experience. Jack's expertise include helping other authors, speakers, trainers, and coaches turn their brilliant ideas into tangible and viable business structure with proper documentation that are transferable, can duplicate, and replicate. He is a sales expert of over 20 years, a licensed trainer in neuro-linguistic programming. Jack has also trained over 500 business owners and entrepreneurs worldwide on the secrets of science and system on how they can supercharge their sales revenue by up to 300% in 19 seconds or less. So, Jack, great to have you here.
Yes, thanks, Lorna. Sorry, I jumped a little bit before you finish your introduction.
No worry. So, Jack, tell me this, right? Wouldn't you agree that there's a lot of business owners out there that their business is not making profit?
Well, that's true. Why? Simple. Because they don't know their numbers. Really, that's the bottom line.
So, for someone listening to this, they want to create financial freedom. They want to use their business as a vehicle. You have 7 principles. What are they? We'd love to know.
Well, I will have to spend like almost 1 hour to go through the 7 principles, but allow me just to share with you the key 3 out of the 7.
Yes.
Basically, number 1 is what I call the first P is actually passion. Basically, you must love what you do. Otherwise, why do you want to start a business in the first place? So number 2 is the purpose. Everybody has a purpose in life, so it's a business. So you must know why you start a business and who are you serving. And number 3, the third P to me is pretty important, which is called the people. And specifically in this part, what I mean by people is
so hold on there. So it's passion, purpose, and people.
Purpose and people. Yep. What is people? People is basically you must learn from other people's mistakes. You must learn from other people's experience. Yes, you can actually spend your sweet time to learn what you have to learn, but we only have 24 hours a day. So what if you are able to tap on someone's experience, shorten your learning curve, and get the result you want? So these 3 P's by far are the most important ones out of my 7 P principles.
So when you talk about people, are you talking about investing in yourself?
Well, but basically, yes, you are right. Investing in myself, because at the end of the day, what we are talking about here is in order to make a business profitable. And I said earlier, basically, most people don't know their numbers. Honestly, Lorna, is it true that the school don't teach us the numbers? Unless you actually go to accountancy school, that might be an exception. But otherwise, what is numbers? Nobody knows.
So when you talk about the numbers, so say somebody's listening to this, say they're an employee who's stuck in the rat race, they want to start their business, they have passion, they have purpose. What do they need to know about the numbers?
Well, every business needs to make profit. Assuming the person decides to start a business, not a charitable organization. And even for charitable organization, they are in the business of collecting donations. So you must know your profit. And to us, very simply put, what is profit? Profit is as I am able to sell a product for $2, and the cost of producing my product is $1. I make $1 profit, and quite a lot of my clients, they have the passion, they want to start a venture, but they just do it without knowing the cost of production, not knowing the business cost. They don't even know how much they are selling. So if you do not know the selling price, if you do not know your production cost, then how do I know my bottom line? So you are talking about a situation where the person might be taking money out from his own pocket, put into the business, but there's nothing coming out from the business. At the end of the day, the business is bleeding, so is the person's bank account. So that is a major problem. A person cannot last long in his business as such.
So how do we turn it around?
Well, number one, yes, to have the passion is important. To have the purpose of the business is important. But let's get realistic here. We must know the numbers. So now let us go into the detail what exactly we are talking about. In terms of the production cost, I don't care whether you are talking about selling products or you provide services. Like myself, I'm actually providing services. So I must know all the costs associated with me providing services. Like for example, I may be renting an office to run my business, so there's an office rental. I may hire certain people to do something for me, so there's staff cost. And you have got electricity, water. I mean, yes, these might seem to be minute, fairly minimal, miscellaneous items, but you still have to come up with the numbers. So put this number on a spreadsheet, if you like. Come up with this spreadsheet so that you know this is the cost of running your business. And now the next question is, okay, now if let's say I'm selling service, what is the value I place to my clients so that I'm able to at least recover my cost initially, but most importantly and eventually, I must make profit. So let's say if I know my cost of service per client is $100, I mean hypothetically, I know that I have to sell a service which is above and beyond $100 in order for me to make profit. So that's why I said knowing numbers is important. And I know that most people, they are not accountants. So who do they learn from? I mean, there are always accountants around, people who actually run a business. And like myself, I'm actually a chartered accountant by profession to start with. So I do know how to put the numbers nicely on a spreadsheet to show the clients, okay, this is your bottom line or projected bottom line, which means the profit. And how do you actually scale your business so that you can make more profits for your business and in the longer run. So this is basically the blueprint. It sounds simple. It is not easy to implement.
But I agree with you. People don't lead with that. You know, you go to coaches and you're told to brand and niche and all this stuff. And, you know, nobody talks to you about the numbers. It's like sometimes the money is like, oh, you shouldn't be chasing the money. You shouldn't be chasing the money. But it's like what you say, if your business is bleeding, you're going nowhere, bankrupt.
Yeah, I give you an example. Like for one classic example is one of my former business partners. And he said that, you know what, after I have studied a program, I'm so eager to run events. I mean, a lot of my friends actually in Singapore are running events. So he said to me, I'm so eager to run events and I need to buy all sorts of the high-end equipment. Okay, that's one. And I need to rent an office which costs me $3,000 a month. Okay. And finally, I need to hire a team of professionals. And I said, hold on. It sounds good, but where is your client? Have you found a client in the first place? If you don't have a client, why do you spend so much money? It's like you jack up the cost, but there's no money coming in. And do you know that eventually your business will be folded? It's a very classic example, I must say.
Yeah, and another area that people get stuck, and you can tell me, it sounds like you've a lot of experience, is valuing their own time.
Oh my goodness. Honestly, a lot of self-employed or solopreneur, they don't charge themselves or they don't give themselves a salaries. It's like the classic statement by Steve Jobs, I only take $1 from Apple. And you know what? I spend all my time working in the business. So to these people, I always say, well, don't you know that you actually spend time in the business. And from a proper arm's length principle, there's a accounting term or the taxation term called arm's length principle. You should draw a salary from your business, or at least you should value the time you spend. Like initially, I know when I started my business 7 years ago, at that time, when I left the corporate world, I start from ground zero, which means that I don't have my personal brand. I used to work for big companies, so of course the brand is with the companies. But when I started my business, there's actually no branding for myself. So initially, to get clients, I have to provide free service. I mean, a lot of people seem to have to go to this path. But eventually, as you are getting more and more well-known and have more and more clients, you are not going to exchange time for money. In other words, no, I would say that you are not going to exchange your time for nothing. Because till now, there are still people out there who say, I'm going to provide free services because I don't feel that I'm good enough. I'm afraid of getting money from my client. And this limiting belief or the self-doubt actually prohibits many people from growing to the next level in the business.
I love that you said that, because that segues me into what I wanted to say next, which is self-worth comes into it a lot. You know, not charging your clients enough, or staying in that free zone, or waiting till I've everything right, or I've this experience or this certification or whatever it is. And self-worth and valuing your time are two biggies, right?
Yep, self-worthiness. I don't feel I'm good enough because in school, again, nobody taught me how to sell. So now I'm going out to the real world and ask client for money. You know what? Salespeople are sleazy. Salespeople are scammy, and I do not want to be like them. So guess what? The best thing to do is not to be like them, and hence not to ask for money from clients. That is the problem.
And then you brought up another thing there. You brought up another thing there. Mindset. Beliefs.
Mindset, yeah. Well, I actually help quite a lot of people in Asia, particularly because we are told, part of the Asian culture is that we are not supposed to, or the parents have taught us when we were young, not to brag, stay humble, and keep quiet. So now it's my turn to ask my client for money. Mindset-wise, how am I going to step beyond my comfort zone in order to get money from client? Let's say I want to get money from client. Right now I'm able to charge quite a lot because my limiting belief has been expanding over and over. So that's good for me. But when I remember when I first started, that was a class example. 3 years after I've started my business, I'm still asking clients for an hourly rate of $200. And I thought $200 was good. Until one fine day I went to my coach, and my coach challenged me, and he said, Jack, mindset is very easy to overcome. You just need to add a zero behind. What do you mean by adding a zero behind? You mean charging instead of $200 to $1,000? And my coach said, precisely. If you are daring to ask for $2,000, there will be people who are willing to pay you $2,000 an hour. And guess what? Within a month, I got my first client who is willing to pay me $2,000 an hour. That's easy to say, but it took a lot of courage. And of course, I stay humble by listening to my coach and just follow what my coach has taught me.
Yeah, and once you get to that level,
yep,
you know you can do it. And it becomes easier, right?
Yes, from $200 to $2,000, it is not easy. But once you have been to $2,000 level, if let's say you're asking for $5,000, $8,000, it's not that hard. The very first sale is always the hardest one. But once you have gone through the first sale, the second and subsequent ones should be easy, at least compared to the first one.
I think this is very valuable because I feel there's a lot of people out there who have passion, who have purpose, and they're out there working their socks off, but they're not necessarily getting the profitable results. So I love that you shared with us about knowing your numbers. And I love that you have a background in accounting and sales, because when you know your numbers, you can see you can see where you're at and what needs to actually happen. Because I think in the self-help world, there's been a lot of, oh, the universe will do it for you. But there's also a part where you plan and you look at, this is where I'm at and this is where I'm going to get, what needs to happen in between, right?
That's right, yeah. And I just want to add on one thing, Lorna, that is like another coach of mine who is actually a tax accountant, a CPA in United States. He also actually said to me very point blank, I can tell whether you are making money in your business by asking only one question. And guess what is the question? Do you have your financial statements?
Yeah.
Most people said, what do you mean by financial
What are they?
statements? I mean, I have my income statement, I have a profit and loss account. Yes. Do you have your balance sheet? Do you have a statement of assets and liabilities? And do you have a cash flow statement? If you don't, I know something is wrong. That's what my tax accounting coach taught me. So this is an alarm if your listeners who run a business, but they said to you, I don't have any of these statements. That would be a big red flag.
Yeah, because they don't know what they're at, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Makes complete sense.
Yep.
So, okay, so the principles of getting there: passion, purpose, people, knowing your numbers, okay, having those financial statements, assets and liabilities. And I bet people listening to this today are going, right, I'm going to do something about this now, okay? Right? So really looking at the numbers and really fine-tuning what you're at, right?
Yep, that's right. Because if I know my numbers, let's say this year, my profit margin is 20%. I mean, if I know my profit margin is 20%, next year, I want to improve my result. I want to make my profit margin to say 30%. There are only a few ways where you can actually raise your profit margin from 20 to 30%. Either you raise your price, you reduce your cost, or you do both. And guess which is easier?
Raise the price.
Raising your price is very easy because it's all about your mindset. And once you know that mindset can be changed such that you're able to focus on high ticket items, then to achieve that 30% doesn't seem to be that hard. Rather than you focus on time, focusing the time on looking at your financial statement and try to find out like which of these items of expenses which I'm able to like lower a little bit, or actually remove it, or actually get an alternative supplier to provide the services to me. To actually like looking at raising your selling price is a lot easier.
Well, I presume if you don't raise your selling price, you get limited, right?
Yeah,
if you don't have the ability to do that or the mindset to do that, you're going to plateau, right?
Yeah, and if you choose not to raise the selling price, do you think your suppliers will not do the same? They will raise their price because they will tell you that my cost of living has gone up every year. There's an inflationary adjustment. So I'm sorry, I have to raise the price. So your cost will go up. If you do not raise your price, your profit margin will go down. So why would you want to do that? So you have no choice but to look at the supply side and the demand side. I mean, the easiest way to look at, like we just said a few minutes ago, to raise the price, to focus on high ticket items is very easy. Like I always tell people, if you want to look at $100,000 a year, I mean, how do I achieve $100,000 a year? And people may say, okay, let's work backwards to find out like, how many clients do I need? Like for me, I say I need 10 clients. If I can get 10 clients and each of them is willing to pay me 10 grand, I'm done. If you do not know this and you focus on the low value items, you know what? You might have 1,000 clients, each of them pay you $100. Guess what? It's the same number, 100,000, but you have to serve 1,000 clients, as opposed to, in my original case, just 10 clients, which is easier. And people don't get it. People thought that to serve 1,000 clients is easier. No, 10 clients is a lot easier than 1,000. And these 1,000 clients, because they pay you a lower price, there's a higher chance that they're actually the problem child. They will give you a lot of problems.
And usually the higher paying client is a better customer.
Yes, most of them. I just share with you like real story. Like I've got a very nice client, and this is by far the best clients I ever had in my 25 years. No, nobody will actually ask me to send them a bill. Like this client, which I'm servicing right now, and basically they asked me in the month of April, Jack, are you going to send me a bill? I say, no, 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 I haven't done my work yet, so I shouldn't send you a bill. They said, okay. In the month of May, which just happened, the client said, are you ready to send us a bill? Let's say, how often do you hear the client is willing to pay you? Shouldn't you be the one asking for money? So the client said, okay, you can send me the bill anytime. And I said, okay, I'll bill 50% of my agreed fee. So I bill the client the 50% of my fee. And you know what? Within the 24 hours, I got paid. The client is actually a very big organization. It's like in the corporate culture, it would take a long time for them to process payment, typically 45 days to 60 days. But this client actually paid me within 24 hours. I said, oh my God. I immediately sent an email to thank the client for speedy payment. And you know what? This is the kind of clients I really want to serve for life because they are very easy. They are satisfactory customers and they appreciate what I've done for them.
Yes, that's the ideal client.
That's the ideal client, honestly, yes.
Jack, this has been amazing. And, I think you shared a lot with us today. And I love that we've really chatted about the numbers and really thinking about high ticket sales and really looking at what's on paper in front of you, your financial statement, your balance, your assets, your liabilities, and running a business as a business, right?
That's right. Yep.
So Jack, tell us, somebody who's listening to this today, they want to create their financial freedom. They're thinking of starting a business. What piece of advice would you give them? Like, what's that one thing?
Okay, so for the purpose of this podcast, the one statement I make is that make the numbers as your friend. Do not stay away from them. Get to know this number well and make them your friends. Because every single day you talk about numbers, you're not afraid of them anymore. And be proud of the numbers you have. That is the one piece of advice I can give you to your listeners for the purpose of this episode.
I love it, Jack. Absolutely. Jack, how do we find out more about you?
Well, I mean, my website is www.jackhmwong, JACK, H for Holland, M for Malaysia, WONG.com. So that is my website. And for people who want to check out, I'm quite active on my Facebook, Jack HM Wong Official. I mean, just type my name, people should be able to find my Facebook page, which I actually have quite a lot of discussion on leadership, business, sales, especially high ticket sales, and there are lots of information they can learn from me if they want to.
Love it. Thank you. This has been amazing, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Lorna. Thanks for having me in your show.